Dominika, a crown-wearing ballerina, is the star of a major Russian theater. Admired by many for her grace and beauty, she focuses solely on dance, not for fame, but to support her ill mother. The theater provides housing and medical care, and to keep it, Dominika must remain at the top. But disaster strikes on stage. Her dance partner accidentally steps on her foot, shattering her leg and ending her career instantly. She wakes up in a hospital with metal pins in her leg. Her future as a dancer is over. 3 months later, she returns home walking on her own. She finds her uncle Ivan, a high-ranking officer in Russian intelligence, visiting after a long absence. As he leaves, he offers help and hands her a folder. Inside, she finds a recorder and photos. The tape reveals her injury was a planned sabotage. Another dancer seduced her partner and conspired to take her place. Furious, Dominika confronts them at the theater and attacks them in a fit of rage. Panicked, she flees and calls an ambulance. But her problems deepen. She returns to find her mother collapsed on the floor. The conservatory had stopped paying their caretaker. Desperate to survive and care for her mother, Dominika turns to Uncle Ivan. But Ivan isn't charitable, even with family. He proposes a job. Meet a wealthy tycoon named Dmitri at a hotel, charm him, go to his room, and swap his phone. She agrees. Dressed to attract, she meets Dmitri and goes to his room. But things take a dark turn. Dmitri becomes violent. Just then, a masked assassin enters and strangles Dmitri with a wire. Terrified, Dominika follows the assassin, who shoots the door lock, leads her through the hotel, and takes her to a hidden room. There, he removes his helmet. Ivan enters, and his demeanor is now cold and ruthless. He gives her two choices. Either she trains to become a spy or dies on the spot. With no real choice, Dominika agrees to be trained. Before leaving, she visits her mother one last time. Her mother warns her that don't trust Ivan. Always leave yourself and escape. Dominika is taken deep into Siberia to a secret training facility, Military School Number 4. She is handed strict rules, no real names, no personal history. Trainees are called sparrows and taught to seduce, manipulate, and exploit weaknesses. On her first day, she's ordered to strip in front of her class. When she hesitates, the instructor reminds her that their bodies belong to the state. Humiliation and obedience are part of the job. Dominika undergoes brutal psychological and physical training, firearms, seduction, lockpicking, espionage. She proves herself exceptional, but her success breeds envy. One day, a jealous male trainee assaults her in the shower. She fights back with a steel squeegee and knocks him down. She's summoned to the headmaster but isn't punished. Instead, the female instructor later calls her out in class and tells her to give him what he wants. The male student demands control, but Dominika undresses on her own terms, disarming him emotionally. He walks away, humiliated. She understood that what he craved wasn't sex, it was power. The headmaster, impressed by her psychological insight, fast-tracks her graduation. She is sent back to Russia. As soon as she arrives, Ivan calls. Her first real mission awaits. A few months earlier, CIA operative Nate Nash secretly met his informant in a Russian park. When a police patrol unexpectedly approached, Nash acted fast. He fired into the air, drawing attention away and giving his informant a chance to flee. Nash rushed to the U.S. Embassy and made it out safely. He returned to America for a while, but Russian intelligence soon tracked him to Budapest. Eager to uncover Nash's informant, Ivan, now aware of Nash's location, assigns Dominika the task of getting close to him. Though reluctant, Dominika agrees after Ivan promises her freedom if she succeeds. She's placed in the Russian Security Bureau's Budapest residence, sharing a room with veteran spy Marta. Marta warns her about the station chief, a sleazy man known for harassing young agents. True to the warning, the chief eyes Dominika inappropriately during their first meeting. Ignoring him, Dominika starts surveilling Nash. She learns he swims daily and begins following him. That evening, she dyes her hair blonde and returns to the pool the next day. As she fills out a registration form under a fake name, she hesitates, then tears it up and writes her real name, deliberately exposing her identity. Wearing a seductive swimsuit, she walks past Nash, who immediately notices her. When she leaves, he calls her back. He reveals he's seen her since yesterday and knows she dyed her hair, proving he's already suspicious of her. Later, on the bus ride home, Dominika smiles. Her plan is working, even if Nash knows she's not just another swimmer. The following day, Nash doesn't show up at the pool. When Dominika returns her locker key, the staff can't find her registration. Nash had stolen it and discovered her identity. He reports her to his superiors, revealing she's a former ballerina and the niece of a high-ranking Russian intelligence officer. Nash suspects her use of her real name means she's not just a spy. She may be reachable. They meet again at an international wine reception. This time, they drop the pretense. Each knows who the other is. Nash proposes friendship, and they agree to meet for dinner the next day. That night, Dominica finds Marta missing from their room and decides to snoop. She discovers an oil paper bag filled with intimate photos of Marta with an American woman, and a diary confirming that the woman is the U.S. Senate Chief of Staff. Marta is planning a $250,000 intelligence exchange in London. Suddenly, Marta returns. Dominica quickly hides what she found. Marta hands her a paper from the station chief, who, after being rejected by Dominica, reported her for making no progress on the mission. Instead of going to dinner with Nash the next evening, Dominica tails him home. At his doorstep, she pretends to cry, using vulnerability to gain sympathy. But Nash doesn't fall for it. He tells her to reflect on what she really wants, marking her first real failure to manipulate someone. The next day, Nash again doesn't appear at the pool. Desperate, Dominica breaks into his home using her lockpicking skills. She finds nothing sensitive, but notices 2 wine glasses left out. She takes one to collect his fingerprints. Back at her residence, Dominica is startled by Ivan's sudden visit, the result of the station chief's complaint. Cornered, she quickly tells Ivan about Marta's upcoming secret intel deal, lying that it's a joint mission. She asks Ivan for $250,000 up front, framing it as necessary for success. Ivan, sensing the value of the lead, agrees, for now. As he leaves, Dominica offers to retrieve his coat and secretly memorizes his passport number from the pocket. Moments later, Marta enters, armed and furious. She overheard everything. She accuses Dominica of stealing the target she had cultivated for over a year. Dominica remains calm. She offers a plan to secure the funds through official channels so Marta doesn't have to rely on the American contact. Suspicious, Marta asks why Dominica is so invested in the mission. Dominica confesses that she once saw the face of Ivan's personal assassin, something no one should ever know. If Ivan found out she'd revealed it, she'd be killed. But in telling Marta this secret, Dominica unknowingly puts her life in danger too. After the chaos, Dominica bought a train ticket to Vienna and headed to a local bank. Peering through the glass, she targeted a young, inexperienced male employee. As the bank closed, she pretended to rush in, asking to open an account. The young man, tasked with locking up, let her in. Flattered by her charm, he agreed to grab coffee while helping her fill out the forms. Meanwhile, Marta, still bitter, met with the station chief and exposed Dominica's vulnerabilities. That night, Dominica returned to her apartment and noticed Marta was missing. The bathroom door was ajar. Inside, she found the same assassin who had killed Dmitri. Marta had been murdered. The killer spared Dominica only because she was Ivan's niece, but warned her, if anyone else ever learned he killed Dmitri, she'd be next. The police investigation yielded nothing, and Dominica was released. Waiting outside was Nash. He had recently received intel confirming that Dominica was a trained Russian sparrow. He confronted her about Russia's brutal intelligence practices and urged her to switch sides. Nash promised to protect her, just as he had his former informant. Dominica, moved by his sincerity, agreed to cooperate with the CIA. Nash took her to a secure safe house in Budapest, where 2 CIA officials tested her with a lie detector. But Dominica, trained in resisting interrogation, passed easily. Afterward, she made her terms clear, $30,000 monthly to a Vienna account. The CIA was skeptical. She hadn't delivered actionable intel yet. In response, Dominica dropped a bombshell. The U.S. Senate Chief of Staff was planning to sell missile secrets. The CIA is stunned. They took her seriously. On the day of the exchange, Dominica arrived at a London hotel where the Russian side had left $250,000 in cash, along with a fake diskette hidden in a secret drawer. In the hotel bar, she waited for the U.S. official, Stephanie. But to her surprise, Station Chief Maxim arrived instead. Clearly sent by Ivan, he was there to monitor the deal. Dominica, angry, lured him away to create space for the operation. Soon, Stephanie arrived. She was wary. It wasn't Marta, her original contact. She tried to leave, but Dominica, having studied her well, played to Stephanie's financial desperation and convinced her to go upstairs. In the room, Stephanie saw the cash and handed over the diskette. As Dominica moved to swap the disks in the drawer, Maxim grew suspicious. From the adjacent room, a CIA agent watching the situation rang the doorbell, posing as hotel staff asking for a review. The distraction pulled Maxim away long enough for Dominica to complete the switch. The exchange was complete. Dominica told Stephanie to wait an hour before leaving, but she didn't. Stephanie left immediately with the money. Outside, while lighting a cigarette, she noticed she was being tailed. Panicked, she dumped the cash in a trash bin and ran, only to be struck by a truck and killed. Russian agents outside witnessed the entire incident and immediately reported it. Maxim, realizing the operation had collapsed, ordered an emergency return to Moscow. He told Dominika they were leaving and asked for her passport and ticket. Though alarmed, Dominika stayed calm and played along. At the same time, Nash received word of Stephanie's death and understood the risk Dominika now faced. He rushed to the airport to intervene. He found her in the departure line. Their eyes met. She shook her head subtly. "Don't act." Nash could only watch, powerless, knowing Dominika was walking into danger. Back at the Russian security headquarters, Dominika faced interrogation. She was asked whether she had leaked secrets to the Americans. She denied everything, even under threat. Ivan, under pressure from his superiors, ordered her tortured. Dominika was stripped, soaked in freezing water, then brutally beaten. Still, she didn't confess. They showed her a video. Maxim, who had returned with her, had been executed. With a gun to her head, she still refused to admit betrayal. Ivan stepped in, urging her to confess. But Dominika claimed everything she'd done was part of the mission to earn American trust and get the informant's identity. Technically, this aligned with her training. Ivan relented and let her go, for now. But suspicion lingered. Ivan promised the director that if she'd betrayed them, he would eliminate her himself. Dominika returned to Budapest and reunited with Nash. She knew he'd never reveal the informant and that eventually she'd be deemed useless. She asked Nash to transfer $250,000 to her Vienna account. Nash, emotionally compromised, agreed. He had lost to her. One morning, Dominika woke up to find Nash gone. In the kitchen, the assassin who'd killed Dmitri was strangling Nash with a wire. Dominika, appearing calm, helped tie Nash up. The assassin took out a surgical kit, tools used to peel skin. He wanted to torture Nash for the name of the informant. Dominika stood by coldly, even assisting in holding Nash down. But when Nash still refused to speak, she asked for the tool, and suddenly turned on the assassin. She had been pretending all along, waiting for a chance to save Nash. A violent fight broke out. Dominika severed the assassin's tendon, rendering him unable to stand. She rushed over and killed him. Dominika awoke in a hospital, safe but uncertain of her fate. Killing the assassin would surely be seen as betrayal. Then the headmaster appeared. To her surprise, he wasn't there to punish her. He revealed that he was the informant. His wife had died because the Russian state refused treatment by American doctors. That's why he betrayed them, but he was tired now. He suggested Dominika expose him. Doing so would make her a hero, let her survive, and allow her to take his place as the CIA's double agent inside Russian intelligence. Dominika accepted. She turned herself in to the Budapest police and requested to speak with the Russian embassy. She asked to call the director directly, offering the mole's name in exchange for her life. On the phone, she gave the director the name. Meanwhile, the headmaster waited quietly at home for his arrest. The next day, Dominika was escorted to the airport by police. The CIA was there. Nash watched her with silent disappointment, believing she had betrayed him. Then, a Russian helicopter landed nearby with the person she'd named. Nash asked them to unmask the traitor, and to everyone's shock, it wasn't the headmaster. It was Ivan. Dominika had betrayed her own uncle. Back in Moscow, investigators found evidence. A wine glass at Ivan's home with American DNA, a Vienna bank account linked to him, and the encrypted data Dominika had passed, all traced back to Ivan. Faced with proof, Ivan accepted his fate. As he walked toward the Americans, he whispered something to Dominika. But before he could be taken, Russian snipers shot him in the head. They wouldn't allow a traitor to walk away. Dominika returned to Russia, hailed as a national hero. The headmaster watched her from the audience, applauding. She had replaced Ivan as director of the Russian Security Bureau and had become the top double agent Sparrow, dancing between two world powers. And for survival, she would continue to play both sides.